Moving along now, Stan Hartling and Paul Horton are heading to Barbados this week in preparation for the Rally Barbados International Racing event, which is being held from Friday, May 29th until Sunday, May 31st. The event is one of the largest motorsport events in the Caribbean, with approximately 100 race teams competing from over 17 countries, including some from as far away as New Zealand. Joining me now in the studio is Stan Hartling and Paul Horton, the racers who are getting ready for the big event, which is coming up. Mr. Hartling, as we all know, this has been your hobby for quite some time now.
Right.
And what's new this year, Paul, is that Bombara is on board. How are you able to basically just form this connection?
Well, we were very lucky. The Honorable Williams and Althea Ewing, they've been following, I think, from a distance on what Paul and I have been doing with the sport, and I think feeling the energy each year, and we've become more and more competitive every year. We've put a lot into it over the past sort of 6 or 7 years, competing in various spots in the world, up in Canada and Barbados, etc. And I think that they really, this year, the bug bit them, and we were very pleased. Bambara has stepped in a big way to help us really represent Turks and Caicos in a great light in the land of rum yet. So we're going to be in Barbados and showing them. But it's exciting. This is quite an event. The Barbados Rally is probably one of the biggest in the Caribbean. It brings top-notch racers from all over the world: New Zealand, England, Scotland, Ireland. There's WRC race drivers that are coming, complete teams that cars are flowing in. So we're excited to be in that fold, and we're excited to see the Turks and Caicos banner there year after year.
And speaking of which, Paul, this is not just a major marketing venture for Bombara, but also to put the Turks and Caicos on the map and in this motorsport.
That's correct. We really want to promote the Turks and Caicos Motoring Club and the brand itself, and create the club here and make it grow through youth, education, safer driving, and just generally across the board. Start off with the kids very young and get involved in the sport. We're also, at the same time, we're promoting sports tourism, which is, I think, a big market to get into. It's something that Barbados does very well. They have a lot of events, maybe they're cricket events or sailing events or something. They're all sports tourism related. And if we can bring motorsports events to this country in the off season, when sometimes most of the tourists are back home in the summer months, it's pretty much what Barbados does. And they're pulling in, in the region of $4 million over 2 weekends.
Wow.
In revenue nights, etc., in a slow season of theirs. Right. So they're filling up the hotels, the restaurants, the local vendors and everything, which is, it's a win-win situation for everybody, but also for the youth, it's a good sport to get into.
And we know, Stan, that your vision is to bring is it called side by side here to the Turks and Caicos, which is more of a trial-based racing?
I think what we want to do is, of course, to get into the full rally like we're doing right now in Barbados is it's extremely capital intensive. The cars are very expensive. They're highly modified, and there's a high, steep learning curve. But the reality is, we would love to pull it back a notch, where the capital investment for people to get into racing and start to get into the competitive approach is not so big. So there's a great sport now where it's really a side-by-side off-road type of vehicle that they're all made to a similar spec, and they're very obtainable for people to get, and it's becoming a big popular sport in the US now. They race typically on more of a gravel type track, and it's an off-road type race, but a timed event and very similar to what we do in a rally car.
And Paul, where do you see this kind of circuit falling into place? This is obviously, as Stan suggested, an off-road kind of motorsport.
Well, I'd like to see it, we would like to see it start here in Providenciales as the main hub, with some sort of off-road circuit that people would go and spectate on weekends, set up, coolers and the tents, and just have general fun and watch, the guys go around on a timed course. But then moving on from that, as it progresses, I would like to get a go-kart facility for training, so the kids can start basically from 5 years old. They can start off in Bambino carts, but as you know, the investment in that is very large. So really our first point of entry would be to get a portion of land that we could, plan out a track. Barbados have had the track called Bushy Park for, 30, 40 years. Mm-hmm. They've just had an investment of probably in close region of $5 million put into the track. Now it is an FIA rated facility. They have probably, with our rallying and drag events and everything and go-kart events and cycle events, probably in the region of something going on every week of the year.
And Stan, we see a lot of fast cars on the roads here, but do you think the interest is there?
I think the interest is immensely here. I think when we start to talk to a lot of the youth, it's really a matter of trying to get it guided in a good direction. And this kind of publicity gets the awareness, gets the thinking it really can happen, and it really can happen. And the karting facility is an example. A lot of people misunderstand what that karting facility is. They tend to think of the little go-karts that people go around. These are karts that are capable of 80, 100 miles an hour in this little, and they're highly competitive. They develop a real high level of racing skill at a younger age, and you can progressively let the skill level step up. So you can start with a governor kart that may only do 50 or 60 at a certain age, but by the time they've maybe are at 15 or 14 years old, they're capable of running these things at 100 miles an hour on a track this high off the ground. So, those are the kinds of ways to enter into motorsport. I think the thing that we would love to get is to realize, and look, the other bigger thing with this with Bambara is not just a dollars and cents thing, and it's not just, putting a lot of logos on the car and tents and things down there, but Honorable Williams and Althea and a whole gang are coming down. So we're going to have, the past premier, and so we've got like 25 people coming down, and that's a thrilling step for us, because I think they're going to be able to see firsthand how truly intrinsic the sports become in an island like Barbados. And if Barbados has done it, Jamaica has done it, Trinidad has done it, we can do it. And like anything, Turks and Caicos is, for a little island 30 miles around, the whole world hears about us. So I think this is something we can really do, and I think they're going to see that the benefit is not just economical, but it's also social. It's a very, when you see, this is a full weekend again and again, where people that don't have to go and spend $300 on a football ticket, they can get their chair, sit beside the road, put their barbecue, and it's just a weekend of fun for everybody. So we really are proud to be there.
How did you get Stan to participate? What did you say that convinced him?
Just kept, egging him on and saying, you need to buy this car, and we need to buy this car, you need to get involved, and you need to be there. But Stan and all the gang have all been very supportive of me, coming down even when they weren't running, to support it. And just generally, you can't help but want to be out there. It's just that atmosphere. And obviously Stan's done a lot of events in Canada, and I knew that this was the place he needed to be. The competition level is very high. The Barbados or Bajan drivers are some of the quickest in the Caribbean. So to get on the same level as them, you really have to be on your game and driving very well. So it's kind of a step up for us as well to meet them, because they're local, they know the roads.
Exactly.
So we have to learn the roads, and now Stan's there, the whole team is around it, and like 25 people this year. We've got mechanics, we've got friends, everybody's supporting us. But literally, when we go to the after party, the weekend after rally, we've got blue t-shirts on. We're the biggest gang there. And basically for the Turks and Caicos, we're just putting the name out there, because it's on YouTube, there's pictures taken, it's TV events. So it's not just the motorsports, we're promoting the country and our brand as well.
And it's funny, everything has a connection. We've had people that have already come up to Turks and Caicos from a business interest standpoint, just because they've seen the awareness of Turks and Caicos being down there, and they're saying, we keep hearing about you guys. And so we've developed some connections where I think it's going to even lead to some business dealings and things. So there's so many reasons to be connected into this that people maybe misunderstand and only think of it as the motorsport side. So it's come a long way, and Canada's another great event for us. It's a 6-day endurance race, but this is the big one. There'll be probably 20 to 25,000 people lining the streets.
And this is the 25th year.
Yeah.
Yes, they've actually been rallying for 54 years.
Wow.
And this event in its format now started off life as Rally Seoul, and then turned into Rally Barbados Seoul. So it's changed its name, but this particular event has gone for 25 years, organised this way. We're talking, major sponsors like Digicel and Lime and Banks Beer, and some of the rum companies. So it's nice to get involved. Bambara in there as well, and just create the name. The brand itself.
And we're going to have a crew coming down to do a documentary as well, so we'll be able to bring back a snippet, and I think hopefully you're going to get to see some in-car that Paul brought, and get to see the cameras. It's hard to always get the sense of speed that's in there, but it's really exhilarating when you're in that car.
Into left 4 plus, wait 5 no cut, into left 4 plus right turns, into wait 5 plus no cut, flat right over bridge, into flat crest, 15 left 5 plus long.
Tell us, how does it feel to be in the driver's seat during such a fast-paced race? Is it the thrill? Is there more worry?
No, the worry goes away. I mean, you understand your capabilities in yourself, and you rarely go beyond those because you know what your limits are, and also you've got someone else in the car with you as well. It's more a very high adrenaline at the start when you're just about to go, so you are a little bit nervous, but that soon goes away. 1 or 2 corners into it, everything levels out, and then it's just basically a professional approach in stuff you've done before, knowing what you can do and what you can do with the car, and at what speed, and understanding your notes and the roads, the conditions. So there's a lot of variables that go into it, but overall there's pretty much nothing that would even come close to it, excitement in anything else.
Well, the neat thing with rally, that for people that aren't familiar with it, is you're doing it on regular public roads, very rough roads, random. It's completely closed off from the public. So you're not on this nice, neat, and tidy little track that you do that corner and you do that corner 20 times, and the next time you do that little turn, you're doing every corner like once. And you're coming up over a hill. All those things have to be in your notes, and so I think that's what we love about it. Is it's the random, complete, run the way it is. If there's a hole in the middle of the road, you better work your way around it. If there's a bunch of stuff on the road, work your way around it. And your navigator is a lot more important than you can believe. Years ago when I got into the sport, I thought, what, are you just there for ballast or company or what? And now you realize there's at least a 15% difference by the time you have that person in the car, and that has to have so much confidence in what they say, because if you're coming over a completely blind crest and you have to stay down on it, and he says it's a left 3 right after that, you're believing him, and that's what you're setting up for. Or if he says no, there's nothing, go. So if you have that confidence, that's a big part of what makes a difference, is that sort of relationship between the driver and the co-driver. And again, I think you'll see some of that in Paul's in-car video.
60, keep left for right 4 plus low, over crest, into left 5 over flat, into line, into double cut, line and double cut, into right 4 plus, right 5 over crest, keep right.
A lot of trust as well in each other, because you have to understand what he's telling me. I believe him, and he's got to believe in me as a driver that we're going to go around that corner at that speed and come out the other side of it. So it is massive teamwork. And not only that, the navigator inside deals with the time you have to be at the stage, what time you have to leave, what time you're refueling, everything organized like that. It's a lot of organization.
But where do you guys find time to practice? I'm sure the Bajans, it's their track, they're there every day, and they have months to probably prepare, test their cars. Where do you guys find the time?
You ever tried to get home on Friday night through Leeward?
Oh wow! Okay.
I'm teasing. No, look, I think a lot of it is that dedication of getting some seat time and getting down there, and it's hard. It's hard to get true, because even if you went out on a lap day on your own on the track, you don't have that same sense of adrenaline. You'll go there and you think you're pushing it, but it's a big difference when you're lining up and that clock is counting down, and all of a sudden, boom, you know that every second counts and your adrenaline's going, and you drive very differently. So Getting in the car and just driving quick around a track is not technically seat time. I think there's so much else psychologically that goes on beyond the driving. You know, how loud the car is, how you're talking through a PA system because of the amount of road noise and stuff that's happening in the car that's, you know, just different than what you would do on a normal day, even if you were driving quick.
Yeah, and particularly in Barbados and here and other Caribbean destinations, the heat in the car is
I
tremendous.
can just imagine.
So you're dealing with a lot of heat, and you know, obviously that has effects on you as well. So you physically have to be fit to cope with the hydration, etc., etc.
We actually wear cool suits. They actually run, there's a big thing of cold water, truly, with ice in the back that runs a pipe system through, and it actually runs it through your suit. And so as you're in the car, you can start and stop that, and it brings your heat down. Otherwise, you really almost would pass out in there.
Burn up. So how long are these races? What's the format like?
They'll range for anywhere from 5 to 10 to longer, 12 kilometers. I don't know, one of the longer ones, but you're doing a lot of it back to back. So you'll finish a run, you might get a chance to rehydrate a bit, but then you got to transit to the next run where they'll have the timing ready and close down. Yeah. So you're running the entire day. You know, going from, you'll have a lunch break, etc., to get cooled down, and let the mechanics sort of try to get up to speed. But otherwise, it's a pretty constant pace. Okay. You know.
And Paul, final question now. When are we going to see this big race happening here in Turks and Caicos? Rally Turks and Caicos, maybe?
Well, I think that's something that we have to discuss with the
powers to be.
The powers to be, and see when we can get, you know, some land or select an area that is respective of where it needs to be. Obviously, noise-wise, we've got to take into consideration, and all the other considerations of, you know, beautiful by nature. Make sure it's in the right location, not disturbing any of the other stuff. But there are locations out there. It's just selecting it and then moving forward with it. As you know, we're busy guys. If we could just stop and do it full time, I would love to, but I can't. But
there's
certainly
any volunteers out there.
Certainly it's something that we're constantly talking about and wanting to get going. But with Bambara involved now, and Gilly and everybody, it's pushing more to the forefront, and I think that's very positive for the sport. It's very positive for the island. So we just need to keep that momentum going now. Yes. And you know, I know there's people out there who are interested, because you know, I go to, you know, out for a dinner or something, and guys come up to us and say, when are you guys going racing again? We saw this clip or whatever. So it's definitely out there in the youth. And I mean, we're talking about karting again. We can start them at 5 years old, and they can be in seniors at 70 years old. This is the span that you can be involved in the sport. Not probably at the level of the rallying, but certainly other aspects of it.
You know, this sport attracts everybody from 5 to 95, and there's a way for everybody to be involved, and so we're going to keep plugging at it.
One of our goals is that by the time we're not here, that we have a full-blown facility that our kids and everybody can carry on. So.
So we're expecting first place when you guys return.
I'm just got to get ahead of him. It'll be a tough one.
That's what we're gunning for. Yeah, we're gunning for it. Sure, both of us are very close to up there in our groups, and it can be done. But we've got to go at it.
Well, good luck, Stan Hartling and Paul Horton, talking to us about their preparations for Rally Barbados. So we're gonna keep checking in with their results and tell you if they actually come home with the first place position.
There you go.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick commercial break now. Stay with us. Your 4 Sports is up next.